Hello and welcome back to the podcast. So, we're talking about everyone's favorite topic today, and that is money. Now, the estate agency model in the UK is not fantastic, and the life of being an estate agent is quite a hard one. Now, I feel like I'm slightly preaching to the choir here when I say this, but it is not designed for particularly liquid cash flow into your life and business. Now, there's not many industries in the world where you can literally work for months and months and months and months on end and then not get paid just because someone changes their mind. There's very, very few. So what we're basically looking at is trying to minimize the risks in your business and your cash flow of your business as much as you possibly can do. But we need to understand that we are working with a bit of a cruel mistress in the estate agency world straight away, because it is not designed for you to have great cash flow in your business, especially when you're first starting out as well. So to give you an idea of kind of a concept on this, so I've talked a lot about sales funnels in your estate agency business historically. There was a big chapter on it in your first £100,000 estate agency. I've done lots of presentations on it, and optimizing and producing your sales funnel up to a good level can make your life so much easier. Now, the concept of this is that every time you list a property, sell a property, complete a property, anything that I would kind of call like a high five moment, like high five, I've just sold a house, or high five, I've just rented out a property, your next job is to generate more leads into your business, so therefore you can refill that sales funnel. Now that's the basic concept. So therefore you can do it all over again, generate more leads, etc. All goes to your sales funnel, business grows, everyone's a winner. Now, the concept we're talking about today is pretty much the same concept, but instead it's your money. Because you've got to think that every time you list a property, it costs you money. Every time you sell a property, it actually costs you money. Actually, when you get to completion, it costs you money as well. Now, that is going to be in blood, sweat, tears, but also in cost of photography, for example, cost of floor plans, your portal costs or your subscriptions to whatever model you might sign up to, lead generation platforms. All these sort of things take a cost into your business. So, for example, if you look at your sales funnel, if we put the money sign on that instead, go right, actually, every time we list a property, it costs me £500. Let's pick a nice round figure there. And by the time that gets through to completion, for example, that might cost me £1,500, because the time effort that I put into it. Don't forget, your time is not free. So if your hourly rate is £50 for an hour, for example, and you're spending 30 hours to sell a property, that's what, 1,500 quid that you're just spending in that situation? So that is not free. So there's a cost for you to list and sell a property. So when I worked at the property franchise group, we actually worked out how much the average sort of cost was for one of our franchisees to list and sell a property. And it was just over £1,000. It was about 1,200 quid from memory. And that was about 5-6 years ago. So probably gone up since then. I'd imagine it's probably more like £1,500 these days to effectively list and sell a property. So a couple of golden rules here. First of all, if your average fee is like £1,500, I mean, you're probably struggling slightly. You need to increase your fees on that side. Second thing is you need to have a minimum fee in your estate agency business. So this is no matter how much of a caravan you are putting on the market, you have a minimum fee to say my minimum fee is £3,000, for example, or £5,000 or £10,000, whatever the number is, to say actually for it to be worth my while, I need to have a minimum fee in place. But only you can only really set that if you know roughly speaking how much it costs you to list and sell a property in the first place. So quite a good exercise when you get a very quiet 5 minutes. It's just on the back of a cigarette packet, work out what your hourly rate is, how long you spend putting a property on the market, how long your average selling time is, how much you pay for photographs, for example, floor plan, all that sort of stuff. Add that all together, and basically that is your sort of cost of a sale in your business. That'll give you a good line in the sand about what you should be charging, because you'll look at it and go, oh my God, I sold a flat 2 weeks ago, for example, which my fee was £2,000. I made 100 quid off the back of that 6 months work. And if you look at that and go, that doesn't seem like a very good business model, you are absolutely right. So that is sort of point number 1 and 2. Point number 3 is sort of minimizing the bad business model that is estate agency on your business. So effectively, you list a property, you sell a property, you do all this hard work, and then let's say 6 months later, you get paid off the back of it. That is a long period of time to be listing, selling, and waiting for that money to come through. So we need to minimize the amount of expenditure you have in your business over that time, but also maximize that income into your business. Now, I'm going to, what's I'm looking for? Upset a few people here, rock a few boats here, because I know historically in estate agency, everyone loves no sale, no fee. And people will hang their hat on we're no sale, we are no sale, no fee. And everyone loves it. And I get it. I absolutely understand where you're coming from. And I, in some way, subscribe to that as well. I think it is a solid sort of USP to come forward with and say, yeah, if we don't sell your property, we don't charge you anything. But by doing that, you basically sign up to what is the terrible business model that estate agency in the UK is. And your goal as a business owner is to monetize the process as soon as you possibly can in your business somehow. Now, I'm going to paint some pictures about how you can do this. Whether you decide to take these on board is up to you, but it can be a real game changer for your business to actually start getting money sooner rather than later into your business. So let's say, for example, let's pick some round figures here. You have a fee of £3,000 for selling a property. Well, actually, if you can get £500 of that upfront to start off with, that then is the cost to find another customer, you have then found the infinite money glitch. Because you are right, it's every time I get a property on the market with myself, they give me 500 quid. And I know from looking at my CRM system and my cost of advertising, etc., it costs me £500 to get 2 market appraisals, to get 1 instruction off the back of it. So therefore, every time I get an instruction, I get the money in my business to get my next instruction off the back of it. That is a good business. What's a really good business is if you can actually earn more. If you can actually earn a bit more than that and earn whatever, 700 quid, so therefore you've got some money left over off the back of it, just by getting people on the market with yourself, that is going to kind of cover your costs eventually. And therefore the icing on the cake is the completion coming through. That's like dreamland, but we'll kind of get there in a few years' time, I promise you. But to start off with, you want to be looking at it and going, how can I monetize my clients pretty much as soon as possible? And that is minimizing your outlay as a business. So one of my clients, for example, when they put a property on the market, it costs them £2,000. Now, for those of you who wince slightly, they are very expensive properties, as you might imagine, and it's like top level videographers, top level drone pilots, and choreograph this and copywritten that sort of thing. Like, it's amazing. Like the details they produce and the standard of their production value is not matched by anybody in the estate agency world. But it costs them £2,000 to put a property on the market. Now, imagine what that does for your cash flow over time. If you list 5 properties in a month, you've just spent £10,000 on the hope that that money is going to come back in 6 months to a year's time. That is a bit of a gamble. So actually, one of the things we looked at with their business is how can we minimize their exposure to start off with. And with the clients they worked with, we then introduced an upfront marketing cost. And to go on the market with themselves, the client actually paid £2,500 to come on the market with themselves, to start marketing their home with them. That increased our cash flow into the business so quickly and actually moved it from being £10,000 out of pocket for those 5 instructions to 2.5 grand in pocket for those instructions coming on the market. That puts us in such a better position going forward. So what we should be looking at doing is minimizing our outlay, so minimizing our cost. Now, take that with a pinch of salt. Obviously, we still want things like professional photographs and floor plans and all that sort of stuff as well, and great videographers. But if we can get the homeowners to pay for that, or get some sort of income into our business sooner rather than later, your cash flow for your business is going to be significantly better. Now, there's a really easy way to kind of pitch slash sell this to a homeowner. And that is almost this exact conversation. Again, put your own spin on this. I don't want you to sound like me, but this is the sort of conversation I'll be having. So, Mr. Jones, we know we want to go on the market. We've talked about our fee being about 1.5% plus VAT for selling your property, which will work out about £10,000. Now, what we ask for is £2,000 upfront for the potential of selling your property. Now, the reason we do that is actually it's a barrier of entry for you to start working with our estate agency. We only work with the most serious homeowners in the local area who want to sell their property for the absolute maximum value and have the smoothest process. So actually, that £2,000, yes, it might pay for our photographs and our floor plans and our details, etc. But actually, that is there of barrier entry for you to start working with ourselves to make sure you are serious about selling your property. Now, basically, you've laid down the gauntlet then. Are you serious about selling your property, Mrs. Jones, or are you not serious about selling your property? If you're not serious, you can go to another estate agent. But if you want to sell your property for as much money as you possibly can do and get as most income for it, that's a barrier of entry for you to start working with ourselves. So that is almost verbatim the conversation I'd be having with homeowners to portray how much you are asking to charge them up front before they start working with yourself in your business. Now, I've picked a large figure there, £2,000, for example, but it might be 500 quid. Now, a softer way of doing it, if you go, actually, God, Chris, that sounds a little bit like jumping straight into the deep end, would be to do a refund on completion. So you might say, actually, we ask for £1,000 up front, which goes towards the marketing efforts of your property. And actually, that comes off your end bill. So effectively, when you sell your property and our fee of £10,000 come in, we'll take that £1,000 off. So you'll just pay £9,000 at the end because we've got the £1,000 up front. So you're still paying the same amount of money, but we're getting £1,000 up front and we're getting 9 grand later on, sort of thing. So the maths are still the same. We're just getting a little bit more earlier on in the game. Now, that £1,000 a month is categorically going to change your business, I assure you. So your goal is to get as money into your business as soon as you possibly can do, not waiting for the end of it. So as I started off by today's podcast, some people will be listening to this and shaking their head and going, I'm no sale, no fee, and I'll die in my ditch on it. Cool, great. That's absolutely fine. I get where you're coming from and I understand what you're saying. Other people will be listening to this podcast and going, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, I'd love to be no sale, no fee, but I look at my cash flow every month and go, oh my goodness, I'm not going to get paid till next month or 2 months or 3 months down the line. And if I can get an extra £500 per instruction or £200 per instructions or £700 per instruction, that would fundamentally change my business, then have a look at it. As mentioned about it, the softer way of doing it is to refund on completion and just to take that off the end bill. But sort of the deep end of it is just to say that is our upfront cost. And this is the upfront cost we're putting on our business. And that is what we need from you to make sure you are serious about selling your property. Right. So I would love to have some feedback on the back of today's episode that can revolutionize the cash flow in your business. The estate agency world market is not built for cash flow in any way, shape, or form, unless you do lettings, of course, of which you've got fantastic cash flow into your business. So try as much you can do to distance yourself from what is the broken cash flow system that is the estate agency world historically in the UK, and try and sort of revolutionize that and bring it into your own world by setting your own expectations and your own kind of rewards off that. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and I'll see you on the next one.